ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. ओम नारायण नारायण नारायण. After a gap, again we are doing Mulavidya Nirasa. Okay. So in the sixth passage, Ekiya Samadhanam, somebody's reply, somebody who is somebody, a section of Vedantins, that is Mulavidya Vadins. So the Mulavidya Vadins, that means the advocates of Mulavidya, they are giving their reply to common man's understanding of three states. Common man understood, expressed his view, how he looks at three states. Now, what he says is, Atmanaha Karana Vidya Sambandho Asti Sushuptav. This advocate of Mulavidya, he says that avidya continues to be there in deep sleep. Still, their very idea of avidya is something peculiar. Their idea of avidya is something peculiar, particularly about deep sleep. Now here, this advocate of Mulavidya, their answer Swamiji gives in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. In these four passages, 6, 7, 8, 9, in these things, briefly states that Mulavidya Vadins Prakriya, their views and their Prakriya, their views, their idea of what is avidya, their idea of their understanding of avasthas, Swamiji presents here, and then this is taken up as a basis for the discussion of the entire book. Now in the sixth point, he talks of only Sushupti, how avidya exists in Sushupti. Regarding this, he gives 5 arguments. Okay, Swamiji has not divided, Swamiji has just continued, but I have divided them into 5 arguments. You can see them. First argument, Kechit Samadhanam Atra Asmadiyaha Kechit Samadhanam Ahu. First argument is Satyamaha Bhavan Jagadidam Nishesham Sushuptav Napraviliyate iti. The world, see his argument. First argument is the world doesn't dissolve completely in deep sleep. Doesn't dissolve means it doesn't disappear. Okay. Dissolving means completely gets erased. Dissolving or getting erased. World doesn't get erased completely in deep sleep. His idea is world still gets shrunken or gets reduced. It gets reduced, gets shrunk or compressed. Let us say, I think the world gets compressed. It gets compressed so much that it becomes a very thinnest part. See, a big cloth, a long cloth, you can fold it and further compress it in such a way that it looks very small only, a thin layer. Like that, world gets compressed. Compressed means when you dehydrate it, when you remove all water, it becomes so light and easy. Okay, thin and light. Similarly, just an example to imagine. Okay, don't take them as literally doing that. Just an example, just to have an idea of it. Okay, Satyamaha Bhavan Yad Jagadidam Nishesham Sushuptav Napravaliyate. See, Avasthatraya Viveka, examination of the 3 states works well. Particularly if you look at Sushupti, In the Sushupti, if you become totally free from the world, then you can understand that world itself is not a reality and Atma alone is real. To be able to understand this, you have to see that how the world is only confined to waking state. The Vedantic Prakriya, real Vedantin's Prakriya is, waking world is confined to waking state, a dream is to the dream, and Sushupti no world. This proves that world itself is confined to a state, itself is not a reality. Therefore, in Sushupti no world exists, then you shift your vision to Sushupti. From the waking standpoint, come to the Sushupti standpoint, that's all, you become free from the world. It becomes easy to understand, and this is what Mandukya, Brihadaranyaka and other Upanishads have been telling, Gaudapadacharya has been telling, Shankaracharya has been telling, and then Sachidananda Swamiji has adopted the same thing. So Sushupti is a direct experience of everybody, where you are Brahman and free from the world, a non-dual Brahman. Direct experience of non-dual Brahman is there in our life, which is seen directly in deep sleep, where your mind is moved away from waking and dream. When your vision is shifted, moving away means shifted. When your attention is shifted from the world, you cease to be an individual and you become a non-dual Brahman. Become means you are non-exist, you are existing, self-existing, ever-existing non-duality you come to see. It is not that you become newly an ever-existing, because Sushupti is not a something, a newly acquired state. It is my natural state. It is, that's what I am. When everything else is removed, when I alone remain, that is Sushupti. Therefore, Sushupti is not a newly acquired state. When everything else is set aside, you alone remain. Your remaining is natural, it is effortless. Therefore, this is how our Shankara's Prakriya, traditional Prakriya says. But here these advocates of Mulavidya say, the world is not visible like in waking state. In deep sleep, the world in deep sleep doesn't go away completely. The bigger part, larger part of the world goes away. The larger means the vast world, the expanded world, concrete world that we see, concrete world we see in the waking state, they say, according to them. And a not so concrete but a little abstract one, an abstracted one you see in dream. And deep sleep, it doesn't go away completely, but it gets compressed and remains some kind of a thin layer. That means world continues in a modified way, still in deep sleep. In waking it is there, the same waking world with a slightly modification, with a reduced intensity, reduced strength. The world in its full-fledged strength is in waking state. This is what they say. The world is present in its full bloom in the waking state. A reduced one like a bud, it is a full bloomed state is waking, like a bud in dream, but still it remains like something like lesser than bud, okay, in deep sleep. That means when you see that the world, now this is what they say. Now to this, now instead of waiting for Swamiji's reply, immediately I say, with this kind of Prakriya, you will not understand that Atma is, by examining the three states, you will not understand that Atma is a non-dual and independent, the Prakriya is a defective. And another thing is, he is looking at Sushupti still from the waking standpoint alone. As a waker, he is looking at Sushupti as if you have gone tentatively from waking, stayed there for a while and coming back. Okay. That means from the going from the waking, staying there for a while and coming back. It is a state related to waking. See, what he thinks is, Sushupti is related to waking. Related to waking means it is at the level of waking state, so that from the waking you can easily go and come back, go and come back. That means it belongs to the level of waking, but in fact Sushupti is beyond the waking level. Okay, Sushupti is beyond. It cannot be compared because Sushupti is nameless, formless. It is no time and space. So there is no question of going and coming. Going and coming happens within the time and place. So from the waking state to Sushupti, there is no question of going, because going, the process, the movement occurs within time and place. Okay, within time and space alone, or within time and space alone, movement is possible. But the waking as a state, you leave them, there is nobody to go and come. There is no going, no coming. There is only remaining. There is only existence. Therefore, this understanding that from the waking, the world transforms, world gets compressed, and still it remains in a thin seed form in the deep sleep. So the defect in looking at the Sushupti from the waking standpoint, and the waking world continues in some manner, this shows the very looking at the three states is a wrong standpoint. This is not Gaudapada's way. This is not the way Mandukya Upanishad teaches, or even Brihadaranyaka, or even Prashna all Upanishads. So, Satyamaha Jagadidam Nishesham Sushuptav na praviliyate. This is his point. The world doesn't dissolve, doesn't get erased, doesn't get compressed. Or it gets compressed, it gets compressed, it doesn't dissolve, it doesn't get erased completely, doesn't go away in deep sleep. Yataha satatam asau atma samsara dashayam anadya vidya pratibatta drishtir naiva kartrutva bhoktrutve swasya jatuchit jahati. Because he gives the reason. Why should it continue in deep sleep? It continues in some modified, reduced form. But it won't be totally free, because satatam, all the time during samsara. That means samsara is a dasha, is a stage of jiva. He thinks, he seems to present like this. Brahma has become jiva, and as long as he remains jiva, his avidya continues with him. That means jivatvam is a particular state of Brahma, and during that state there is avidya sticking to him, and he can't get rid of that avidya because it is sticking to him. Satatam, it is always continuously avidya is with him. At no point of time you are free from ignorance. You are free of avidya. Avidya continuously is with you. Samsara dashayam anadya vidya pratibadda. Because avidya is beginningless and endless. It doesn't go away. Drishtir, therefore, naiva kartrutva bhoktrutve. You can never be free from your sense of individuality. Karta and bhokta. You are never free from being an individual karta and bhokta. Swasya jatuchit jahati. You never give up. Yadyapi sarva paricheda. But you may ask, see, but Sushupti looks like free from all duality, free from all limitation. Although, now you see what he replies, although it looks like that, it's not really. Although it looks free from all duality, free from even individuality, it looks like that, but it is not really. See, what a wonder, his prakriya. We say Sachidananda Swamiji or Shankaras, Sushupti is really free from Dvaitam, free from individuality. He says, although it looks that you are free from individuality in deep sleep, still you are not free. That means he is imagining in deep sleep lot of things. He is not examining the problem with them is, we have to examine the experience as it is. So they are used to imagine, they are used to speculate. So they think like some of the philosophers do, you imagine, speculate, conceptually you explain, logically you explain, conceptualize. So Sushupti, he is conceptualizing, giving logic to it, and then making a concept about it. Here philosophy as in a Western sense might be that way. Even in India also some of the schools say. So philosophy might be a developing a concept, making a conceptualizing of some ideas, something, some facts. So conceptually explaining or conceptualizing may be philosophy, but Vedanta is not a philosophy in that sense. In what sense? Conceptualizing things. It only observes the facts, observes the anubhava. So Sushupti is an anubhava. Look at it and see what it is. See what it is. Don't imagine. He is imagining, he is trying to explain what is Sushupti. Don't explain, just see. See what it is. Vedanta is looking at anubhava. This requires an open mind, non-imaginative mind. Non-imaginative means unnecessarily imagining. You don't have to imagine. Imagination is a different sadhana. Upasana is a sadhana of imagination. You require a fertile imagination in Upasana. Upasaka has to be highly imaginative person. Very, very gently, lovingly, creatively imaginative person. Where? In Upasana. In Vedanta, we don't need an imaginative person. We don't need your imaginativeness, imagination. We need observing the facts as they are, without imagining, without adding anything, without any prejudice, without adding anything, just to see the fact as it is. That's why in Vedanta Vichara, no imagination, but looking at the facts, just the fact as it is. Sushupti is an experience. Dream is an experience. Waking is an experience. Just look at the experience, how it is, what it is, directly look at it. If you imagine, then you are unnecessarily interfering. Okay? Vedanta is opposite to Upasana. Upasana, you need imagination. Here, that's what exactly you have to stop. You don't have to use it. But that is exactly you need in Upasana. Totally different sadhanas. So, he says in Sushupti, although it looks free from any limitation, free from any individuality, when that is your experience, that you are free from individuality, free from any limitation, no limitation whatsoever. When that is your experience, see how he is explaining, although it looks, but we should not accept. Why? If that is your experience, why should you reject the experience and try to impose some idea on it? That is a mistake he is committing. So he says, Sushuptau yadyapi sarva paricheda shunyaiva drishyate sushuptau. Atma is found in deep sleep as free from all limitations. And that means he is not an individual at all. To look at yourself as an individual, you need the you need the angle of upadhi. Angle means upadhi. You need an upadhi of body, upadhi of sense organs, upadhi of mind, intellect. Through them you look at yourself. But when you dissociate with them, you alone remain. Then you are free from all limitations. You are infinite. Sushupti, not that you are in Sushupti, you are Sushupti. It is not that Sushupti is a state in which Atma exists. Atma and Sushupti are not two, it is one. There is only one non-dual experience. So therefore, Sushuptau sarva paricheda shunyamiva drishyate. It is experienced true. It is our everybody's. He admits one side but imagines another side. This is the defect. Still he is explaining. I am immediately answering so that we can see the contrast. Otherwise you will take a long time to understand their prakriya alone, then you may get conditioned to their prakriya. Therefore instantly I am answering here only. Tathapi tadanimapi vidyate eva asya mityabhuta ajnana sambandha. Second point is, although it looks free from all duality, yet Atma is connected with Mithyabhuta Ajnana Sambandha. That means Mithyabhuta, false, Ajnana. It is their prakriya according to Mulavidya Vadins. Ajnana is a false Ajnana. Ajnana is a positive entity, something substantial, but it is a false, yet it is substantial. Okay, so that avidya, Atma is connected, Atma is in association with that avidya, of course in waking state, in dream also. Even in deep sleep, Atma continues to be associated with that false positive ignorance, false Mulavidya. Tadanimapi vidyate evasya mithyabhuta ajnana sambandha. This is, as we have told, briefly we told, we'll discuss more details, that it is a wrong because one side he says that it is only non-dual and nothing else, free from all limitations, yet we must assume limitations. We can't say that we are free. Why? See, because he thinks that Sushupti is a tentative state. The biggest problem is, Sushupti is a tentative state of waking Jiva. Jiva is in the waking state, and the same Jiva tentatively staying in deep sleep, he takes Sushupti as a state of Jiva. That is a defect in. He takes Sushupti as a state of Jiva. Sushupti, but we say, Vedantin, Siddhanti says, is going to say, Siddhanti is going to say Sushupti is not a state of Jiva. Sushupti is the nature of Atma free from Jivahood. See, Sushupti is the nature of Atma free from Jivahood. But it is not a tentative state, because it doesn't come and go, it always is. That it comes and goes is a waking standpoint. It appears as if, first thing is, it is a nameless, formless. How can the formless come and formless go? Formless is ever existing. Therefore, you cannot replace the space. You see, here is a space. You bring the hand. Am I replacing the space with my hand? You cannot replace, because space is formless. You can't bring it, you can't send it out. You can't push it out. You can't forcibly bring it. Space is not available for any movement, any action. You can't subject the space to any action. You can't subject the space to any action, either holding, forcibly throwing out, pushing it to another direction, or catching it, bringing it, using it. You can neither use the space, nor hold it, nor catch it, nor push it, nor bring it, nor pull it. You can't handle it. You can't do any action. You can't relate to space, because nothing can be done with relation to space. Okay, anyway, that more we'll discuss later. So when a thing is brought, space is not replaced, because it is self-existing. You can't replace it. It is the basis of everything else. Everything else comes and goes. In the worldly sense, everything comes and goes. Space doesn't come and go. Okay. In example we told, but space also goes, that's a later. It's a pure existence of Atma remains, space also comes and goes. Okay, now here, Ajnanam is mithya. This idea, second point is, his idea of mithya is very peculiar. He says, Ajnana is mithya. Second point of this advocate of Mulavidya. Ajnana is mithya, no doubt. But even his idea of mithya is very peculiar. He says, but in fact, mithya means what? Mithya means it is not there. Even while it is appearing, it is not there. That is mithya. It is only a wrong understanding, is a misunderstanding, otherwise it doesn't exist at all. That is mithya. But he says, mithya means it exists tentatively for some time and later it goes away. So the tentative existence is called mithya. See, a tentative existence. Actually, mithya means what? Even while you understand, even while you are thinking that it is there, still it is not there. Actually, it is not there even while you think it is there. That's called mithya. Mithya means it only appears, it's not really there. But for them, they reduce the mithya into another very peculiar concept. The Mulavidya Vadin say, it exists for a while, tentatively. See how he says. Tattva tacha ajnanam jnanabadhyamiti krutva. He says, ajnana must continue in deep sleep. Ajnana must continue in deep sleep because it has to continue until certain period. Only at later stage alone it will go. At later stage it will go. It has to continue even in deep sleep. Avidya has to continue. That means it is a continuously present. It's a continuous existence, and also it is a tentative but a continuous existence. It is a continuous existence. Then if it is continuously existing, then why do you call mithya? He says, at a later stage it goes, that's why we call it mithya. So his very concept of mithya is peculiar, that now it exists, but later it goes away. So what exists now later goes away, therefore we call mithya. Is very false means what? False means a tentative existence. See, his idea of falsity is a tentative existence. This is wrong, we are going to show later. Okay, falsity is not tentative existence. Falsity is no existence even while it is appearing. Okay, no existence even while it is appearing. So this is his second argument is, it is mithya, yet it continues. See, tacha ajnanam jnanabadhyamiti kutva. It goes away only with jnanam. Until jnanam, it is there. But really is, jnanam doesn't destroy. So this implies that avidya is a tentative existence and it has to be destroyed by jnanam. This is what Mulavidya Vadin says. I don't know, do you see the subtle difference? That's why I am repeating, because people should be able to see the subtle difference. So he says, Sushuptau tathapi tadanimapi vidyate eva asya mithya bhuta ajnana sambandha tacha ajnana. Then why do you call mithya? Because jnana badhyamiti krutva. Yadyapi mithya uchyate, we call it mithya because it will get destroyed by jnanam. Only after jnanam it ceases to exist. Okay. Until then it continues. It ceases only with jnanam. It ceases to exist with jnanam. Only on the rise of jnanam it ceases to. Then what is mithya? Mithya is not destroying something which existed for a while. This is not the mithya. Jnanam doesn't destroy. Mithya and jnanam, the understanding of mithya and the function of jnanam. And see, the Mulavidya Vadin's concept of mithya and role of jnanam. Okay. His understanding of mithya and the role of jnanam. Here is the difference. Mithya is tentative existence. Jnanam destroys it. When it destroys, thereafter it ceases to exist. This is what he says. but it is a defective. More will be discussed. Briefly, I give answers. Mithya doesn't mean tentative existence. Mithya means even while it doesn't exist, even while it appears. Then what does Jnanam do? Jnanam doesn't destroy, because when it doesn't exist, where is the question of destroying? That it only appears, but in fact it is not there. This is what it points out. What you are seeing, what appears to be there, that appearance, only appearance, it doesn't exist. It is only shifting your standpoint and pointing out that it never existed. It doesn't destroy a tentative existence. Okay. Mulavidya Vadan says it existed for a while and only with Jnanam it gets destroyed. We say Jnanam doesn't destroy it, Jnanam only shows that it never existed. It never existed, you only thought wrongly, otherwise it never existed. Even while its appearance, it doesn't exist. So this explanation, therefore he says, in Sushupti it must continue. Therefore, just because you go to Yavan Mukti, until you gain Jnanam, it must continue. It must continue. When it doesn't exist, even while you are seeing it, in reality it doesn't exist at all. When this is the fact, he says it must continue until Jnanam. Until moksha, it continues. On moksha, it goes away. So, this presentation of this prakriya is a very peculiar. It goes to the other side of non-Advaitins. That means they have adopted lot of ideas and presentations of non-Advaitins ideas. This prakriya is a non-Advaitins prakriyas. They have, with a slight modification, they have adopted. That's why it looks like that. It looks that as if they are talking of like the Advaitins only. Dvaita-Advaitins. As if they are talking like Dvaita-Advaitin. At one stage Dvaita is real and at later stage Dvaita goes away. So this Mulavidya Vadan's explanation, their prakriya, comes closer to Dvaita-Advaitin. Dvaita and Advaita. Like Bhartru Prapancha. Bhartru Prapancha was there. Like that. Bhaskara, Bhartru Prapancha. And later even these days also we have some of them Dvaita-Advaitins. Dvaitam is also real at one stage, then Advaitam is real at another stage. Therefore, tathapi yavan mukti anuvartishnat. Until you attain the moksha, avidya has to continue. That means it is a continuous existence. At later stage, it gets destroyed. Jnanam destroys. Na sushupti matrena kas. Therefore, what exists continuously in all three states until you gain jnanam. So it is a separate time. Until you gain jnanam, it continues. So such an ajnanam which continuously exists, how can it cease suddenly in deep sleep? This is what their question. How can it suddenly cease in deep sleep alone when that avidya is supposed to continue throughout your samsara state? Continuously it exists. So the misunderstanding is there is no continuous, there is no existence. First, when it doesn't exist and there is no continuity, where is the question of continuity and existence? It really doesn't exist even when you are seeing it. You are seeing alone, you are thinking alone is a mistake. Even when you think, it doesn't exist. So in deep sleep is, see, avidya is only your conception. You think you are jiva. You think you are jiva. When that thought you set aside, there is no jiva. And he says, how can jiva would go away right now? It has to go at certain period of time alone, only after jnanam, they say. But here you say, right now you are free. In your real nature, you look at turn inwardly, and you look at right now you are free. Even while it appears you are an individual, you are not individual. Even while you think that there is a duality, me and others, still there is no duality. Therefore, that non-duality of Atma is an ever-existing fact. It is not a fact which is going to come after Jnanam. They say, now as long as you are Ajnani, there is a continuous avidya. Only after Jnanam takes place, then the Dvaitam ceases and Advaita comes. So they put it Advaita as if it is in another state, another experience. I don't know whether they mean it or not, but that's how their prakriya presents to us. Avidya is one state and Sushupti is in another state. I mean, Brahman is another state, Moksha is in another state. So this way of presentation is not right. Okay. So just by going to sleep, it won't disappear. Therefore, it must continue in some form, even in deep sleep. That means he is taking deep sleep is in another state in line with waking and dream. It is of the same level of waking and dream, 1 point. Second mistake is, from the waking you go to sleep and you come back, and you go to sleep and come back. That means you keep on fluctuating between deep sleep and waking and deep sleep and waking. That may be okay from the waking standpoint. From the Anubhava standpoint, take the waking as a waking, dream as a dream, and Sushupti as Sushupti. You look at the Anubhava Drishti, there is no coming and going, because that's what you are. Avidya is only a conception. When you leave out the conception, you are eternally Brahma. Even now you are Brahma. So Jnanam doesn't remove Avidya and take you to Brahman. Jnanam only tells you you are already Brahman, there is nothing to remove, you have never been somebody else. You have never been non-Brahman. You have never been anything other than Brahman. You have never been non-Brahman. Brahman is eternal fact, it is a self-existing fact. Therefore, taking avidyatvam is a state and it has to continuously exist until Jnanam takes place. This is the prakriya he presents, is not the right. Okay? Second point is over. Third point. Tasya ajnanasya maya vidya prakriti bija dyaneka vyapadesha bhajaha ka. Now, third point. Third point is, he says prakriti, maya, avidya, all these three are the same names of the same thing. Maya, avidya, prakriti, bija, all these names are synonymous. That means he is presenting avidya is synonymous to prakriti. Avidya is synonymous to prakriti. This is the third point. But in Shastras, avidya is never equated with prakriti. Prakriti is an appearance due to misunderstanding. Prakriti is an appearance due to misunderstanding. Prakriti itself is not avidya. Okay, this point. In the third point, second thing is that prakriti synonymously called according to him as avidya has got two states. One is a causal state, another is an effective state, state of effect, karya avastha. So in Sushupti, the karya effect state of effect goes away, dissolves. It remains in a bare seed form, a causal form or a seed form. Okay. Avidya has a seed form. Avidya has a effective form, manifested form. Sushuptau cha karana avastham apnoti. Therefore, it assumes the karana state in Sushupti. A bija state, a seed form, it assumes. First thing is avidya is a conception. Where is the question of avidya modifying into other form and assuming in another form, and then avidya is just a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding is there only during misunderstanding. Having a two states and it is a causal state, but the cause and effect itself is within a misunderstanding. See, the idea of cause and effect itself is within avidya, according to us. So, but he says avidya is synonymous with prakriti, that prakriti has got a two state, one is a causal state, another is effective state. This is a third argument he is giving, but this third argument briefly we can show how they are wrong. Avidya has no two states of cause and effect. Avidya is a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding is there because there is a misunderstanding, that's all. That means misunderstanding is there. So all cause and effect is within avidya. Therefore in Sushupti there is no causal state. Okay? Sushupti is just a non-dual Brahman. When the misunderstanding is set aside, you are already Brahman. Okay? When there is no misunderstanding, you are Brahman. This is the third point, his mistake, and we are giving a brief answer of Siddhanti right here so that we don't have to wait until them. There we'll have elaborately each point will be discussed. Okay, then next a fourth point. Then fourth point is answering to us. We generally say, if you mean see, where Siddhanti asks Mulavidyavadi, you say that there is a avidya in deep sleep in some form, seed form, in a causal form or a seed form. Yes, it is there in a seed form. If it is seed form, but I don't experience it. But nobody experienced it, nobody found it out. Yes, we don't experience it, but it is there. Oh, you don't experience and yet it is there? What is this? What kind of Vedanta is this? It is there, but everything is only experience alone. Experience means only pratyaya. Adhyasa is a pratyaya. Everything is only a thought. Within the thought alone, everything is. You don't experience, yet it is there. This is a very strange logic of Mulavidyavadins. He says, Yat Satyam Sana Tatra Grishyate. He says, what you are telling is true. It is not perceived there. You don't perceive it in deep sleep, yet it is there. You have to accept that it is there. Why? Because to be able to perceive it, you need mind as an instrument. Mind is an instrument to perceive something. Through sense, two ways we have a perception. One is with the help of sense organs, an experience of perception is born. Perception is. Another is without sense organ, directly mind perceives. Perceives means like emotions, thoughts. Emotions and thoughts are directly perceived without help of sense organs. So he says, in Sushupti, there is a perception of Mulavidya, but I don't experience them. Yes, you don't experience because you have no mind. When there is no mind, then what exists there? Without the mind, it exists, but you would not know because you have no mind. See, he is trying to establish something outside the mind, outside the conception, outside a thought. Outside a thought, it exists, and you are proving through the thought that it exists outside the thought. He is trying to prove through the thought. So this doesn't work, it's unnecessary contradiction. And he says, Vyanjaka abhavadeva ayam agraha. You don't know, you don't perceive it in deep sleep, and he says, you don't perceive it because to be able to perceive you need a mind, and that is missing. Since the mind is missing in deep sleep, you are unable to perceive. Okay. Vyanjaka abhavat. Since mind is missing, the instrument of knowledge, mind means the instrument of knowledge is missing. Instrument of knowledge is missing. This is too much. First thing is, avidya is not an object of knowledge. How can you look for an instrument to be able to know it? Avidya is not an object of knowledge. How do you say that since the instrument is missing, we lack the instrument, therefore we are not able to perceive, yet it is present? If the instrument is not present, therefore you cannot see. If you are unable to perceive avidya in deep sleep for want of an instrument, then on what basis you come to assume that it is present there? All the basis is only your mind only. If mind is not there, then say nothing is there. No. Without the mind also avidya exists. So this is unnecessarily speculating. This is unnecessary speculation. More how it is wrong will be discussed when Swamiji himself gives the answer. I am giving briefly, instant answer briefly. So, natu avidyamanatvadev, he says, we don't perceive avidya not because avidya itself is not there. See, in deep sleep, we don't perceive avidya not because it is not there, but because we lack an instrument. We have no instrument to perceive it. It is for a want of instrument not the thing itself is not there. See, without an instrument, he wants to establish object. This is a very peculiar logic. Just a speculation, illogical thinking. Okay. So, natu avidyamanatvat hetoriti suptottitanam paramarshat avagamyate. Then how do you know it? Then how do you know it? Suptottitanam paramarshat avagamyate. He says, when the mind is there, you come to know it. He says, since mind, in deep sleep there is no mind. Mind is an instrument to know anything. For want of mind, you cannot perceive it there, but you come to know it after when you come to waking. After you come to waking, you get a mind. With the help of the mind, you come to know the deep sleep. Peculiar thing. So in deep sleep is a state which is free from mind. See, deep sleep is a sleep. Say, deep sleep is an experience when you have no mind. And he said, then what is beyond mind? How can you decide with the help of the mind from the waking state? He wants to decide from the waking state. When the mind is there, it is something like this goes wrong like this. There is a story, is a well-known story, you might be aware. An old lady was found searching on the street in front of a street light. In India nowadays you have lights, but in those days there used to be no power much, and long before. So some people came. They asked, Amma, what are you searching for? She doesn't answer. As she is searching, others also search. Others also search. Somebody else came. They also started looking for it. What is she looking for? They are also started looking. So like this 4 or 5 or 10 people came, whoever came on the street. They are also trying to help her. She is looking for something, let us also help her. Then a 10th man came. 10th means another person. He became a bold and he asked, Amma, what are you looking for? Tell us. What are you looking for? Tell us so that we can help you. All these people are searching. When I asked them, hey, what are you looking for? They tell, I don't know. She is lost something, so we are helping her. Hey, how can you help her when you don't know what is it you lost? So then he says, we don't know. Then he went directly to that old lady and asked, Amma, what is it that you lost? You tell. He says, I lost my needle. While I am stitching, I lost the needle. A small thing. Needle or spoon, some such thing. A small thing she lost. I say, how did you lose? Where did you lose? Where did you drop it? Where did you drop it? Where did you drop it? You tell me so that we can search that area. She says, I dropped it in my hut. Then why are you searching here on the street? There is no light, therefore I am searching in the street here. She lost it in the hut, inside the room, and searching outside in the street. Is it likely to get? Is she likely to find it? That is the biggest problem. Similarly, Sushupti is beyond mind. And he is talking about the state which is beyond mind. With the help of the mind, he is talking, he wants to decide. And he says, there is something in deep sleep. Yet you are unable to know because you don't have a mind. But when you have a mind, then you will come to know. But it is a state beyond the mind. How can the mind decide what is beyond the mind? This is the biggest defect. But anyway, we'll discuss more later. Okay, then last argument. I think the last argument is about, I did not know anything. Evam hi tatra paramarshah swape nakinchid avedisham. I did not know anything. Because when you come to the waking state, you recall the deep sleep like this, I did not know anything. Therefore, this proves that there is an avidya, there is an ignorance in deep sleep. This argument, I think, we will discuss in the next class. Time is up. We will discuss in the next class. And continue this also. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Narayana Narayana. The same argument only. Yeah, we will discuss in the next class.